It is overtime here at Old Favorite Friday, and we are continuing the conversation about Southern Tier's Pumking. Now, we are in August as we record this video, and pumpkin beers have been out for a couple weeks now, even maybe 3 weeks now. I even saw some of them hitting the stores in July, and I was excited to have this beer. I'll be honest with you, I have not had any pumpkin beers in the last couple years. Maybe it just wasn't, I wasn't in the mood or whatnot, or I was distracted. Actually, a year or so ago, I did try to get some pumpkin beer, but I tried to get some in October, and they were all gone. Yep. So that's a really, really good piece of information. If you like this beer, go get it now, because by the time that the season really hits, where we're thinking about pumpkin beers, some of them are going to be gone from the stores, and we're going to be seeing Christmas beers in by that time. But I do really like this beer. It's the first time I've revisited it in a while. I remember this beer being a little bit sweeter than it actually is, and it does have a touch of sweetness, but this is a really, really drinkable beer for all that upfront flavor.
Yeah, and like you said, I like the fact that it still tastes like beer, where compared to, as I was saying earlier, something in today's world that would be sweet would almost taste like unfermented wort. Whereas this, it's still a beer, but you get, it's supposed to taste like pumpkin pie. You get like that nutmeg and the cinnamon, which, as we've talked about before, gives you almost like a graham cracker. Like, it's, if you didn't know that cinnamon gave that flavor, you might be like, oh, is that just like crust? Did somehow they mimic crust? But yeah, it's got all those like baking spices you associate with the fall holidays. And something you just mentioned about it being August, I was going to say Florida doesn't have season, so this is great to drink right now. I'm actually really enjoying it.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with having this beer. You know, I poke fun at it every now and then. Always in our beer groups, we're always talking about the seasonal creep and how ridiculous it is that an October beer, a pumpkin beer, would be gone in October, before October sometimes. But this is just the nature of the beast, and I'm happy to have the beer, and I'm happy that I picked it up for the first time in a while, because I'm really, really enjoying this, and I'm finding it, like I said, a little more drinkable than I was anticipating, because, you know, your memory is fallible. Yeah. I don't remember everything about every beer. I always loved this beer when I was really, really big into pumpkin beers, and there's a handful of them that I really, really enjoyed. And I was a fiend for them at one time. I wanted to try every pumpkin beer out there. I drink a pumpkin cider. I really got into it. And to me, this is one of the ones up there. I mean, do you have any stories about Southern Tier Pumking or any other pumpkin beers from your trading days or anything?
Yeah. I mean, this, and as I was saying, Good Gourd, that Cigar City, both of these were two that a lot of my friends talked about. And interesting enough, back when I was home brewing, something you touched on about getting them earlier, that's actually, I wanted making a pumpkin beer one year because I was searching for a Good Gourd, searching for this, but it was like, let's say end of September, and you really can't. Like, if you wait too long, they're all gone. So I actually wound up just trying to like make almost like a clone of something similar to these. But yeah, these to me are, even though, you know, now you think of pastry, you think of stouts, but these kind of like, even how winter warmers are, at the time they were like the sweet beers. Like, if you wanted something sweet, the holidays were coming around and you kind of wanted to like show off to all your buddies, you're like, hey, I got this big imperial, because a lot of them are like 8% or above, and you're like this sweet kind of, you know, almost dessert, holiday dessert beer. This would be one of the ones you'd go and pick up. So
I think I got my first bottle of this when I traveled out of state to a state that had Southern Tier in distribution, because Florida didn't have it, and I was just blown away. I thought it was amazing, just like the Blackwater series, just like all those special beers that people would trade for years and years ago, and maybe still trading for today. I don't know. I know Southern Tier has so much more distribution that it changes the dynamics when it comes to that. But this is a perfect encapsulation of why Southern Tier does these beers so well, is that they can get all the flavor of chocolate or creme brulee or pumpkin pie, really, in a beer that's still a beer, in a beer that's really, really drinkable. And I mean, kudos to Southern Tier for making this beer this good at this point, because it's really easy to go, you know, down a different path with things, and maybe even like kind of tap into the fact that the American palate is liking some sweeter beers these days, and they want beers that are under fermented. And this isn't that. This is a really, really good beer. It represents the style really, really well. There's tons of other ones out there that I really enjoy, and we might touch on a couple of them before the year's done, because there's other, you know, there's another Old Favorite Friday coming in a week.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
We'll see. And if you are watching this and you have a favorite pumpkin beer or a favorite Oktoberfest beer or Feist beer, if you've got a favorite beer in general that you want us to review and talk about, just let us know in the comments. Direct message us on Instagram, Facebook, and just like let us know. We love hearing from you guys of what beers you really like to like us to try. But I do want to do a little caveat. We haven't done it in the video before, but we have gotten a lot of suggestions for beers that, quite honestly, we don't really care for. Not that those are necessarily bad beers, but we have to be passionate about the beers that we talk about. So if you have put in a request and said, "Oh, I want you to review this beer," it might be a beer that we just was not our favorite, right? And we call it Old Favorite Friday for a reason.
Yeah, and you want to be honest about what you're talking about.
Right. Everyone has a different and subjective taste. So we just want to put that caveat out there, is that if you request a beer and it doesn't get used, it might not be because we didn't hear you. It might be because it just wasn't something that we were really behind and wanted to feature. So I think it's important to tell that. Ralph, anything else to say about pumpkin beer, about something to hear, about anything else?
Yeah, the one thing I want to add about especially a beer like this or any imperial pumpkin beer, because a lot of people, you always hear about aging classic styles, but even though some of the spices may fall off a little bit, I've aged and actually have like a 3-year-old pumpkin beer at home right now. They turn into almost like a barley wine-esque thing. So yeah, if you get like a 4-pack, I would definitely say at least age one of them. Maybe, drink half now, drink 2 later, because they do age really well, actually.
Well, really cool. Thanks for that, Ralph. Thank you guys for joining us. Please poke around on our YouTube channel, see the other beers that we've talked about, that we're passionate about, and also leave a comment, subscribe, all that good things. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.